In John Dewey's book, Experience in Education, he explores the extremes of educational practices and offers a solution to the problems that he uncovered. Dewey spent years studying and observing learning environments only to see two main different theories, both of which he thought were inadequate: the traditional schools and the progressive schools. In the traditional schools, he saw children being expected to learn in an environment that didn't suit their needs, and they were all expected to absorb the same information like uniform sponges. In the book, one of the biggest differences between these schools is passive absorption versus experience. In the progressive schools, he saw children being given freedom just for the sake of having freedom, and the students essentially weren't learning anything. In the traditional schools, books are seen as the chief representation of wisdom from the past, and teachers are the agents that relay the knowledge from them. The subject matter in these books is generally learned in isolation for the purposes of passing exams, and over time cannot be effectively recalled unless those exact conditions are recreated. Additionally, the subject matter within these books is organized arbitrarily based on predetermined curriculum that is becoming increasingly outdated. This selection and organization of predetermined material is detrimental to our students because it lacks meaning and relevance to their own lives, which lessens the likelihood of retention. Lastly, direction or guidance from adults is considered to be an invasion of individual freedom. This means that traditional teachers are potentially hindering their students from making their own discoveries that could lead to meaningful and lasting knowledge. He also thought the new progressive system was too extreme. He saw it as a revolt against the traditional schools. He believed that the progressivists were so involved in reacting against others that they were completely controlled by this reaction. His plan was to create a school that is more inclusive than the traditional and progressive parties. For this reason, he reformulated his ideas of democracy and education based off of his experiences in the progressive schools. Dewey's ideal progressive schools are simple and more authentic because they focus on principles of growth rather than reaching a predetermined end goal. The subject matter covers the facts and truths that are outside the range of experience of the students, and the teacher must discover ways to bring those into the classroom. The subject matter must be meaningfully experienced in context rather than arbitrarily discussed. Since this subject matter is based on experience, there is not a consistent delivery or organization of curriculum. In these schools, the teachers have the power to choose and organize their own subject matter. To be effective, Dewey believes that the organization of knowledge should be based on cause and effect in the individual's experiences. Lastly, the teacher's guidance should be an aid to freedom of discovery and not a restriction on freedom as seen in traditional schools. Effective progressive teachers also need to be intelligently aware of the needs and past experiences of all students so that suggestions to be made to accommodate them and help them develop. What does this mean for upcoming teachers? Progressive teachers have the responsibility of becoming intimately acquainted with the conditions of the local community, physically, historically, economically, and occupationally, in order to utilize them as educational resources to help create experiences. These experiences need to be unique and individual. In a nutshell, Dewey believes that the traditional scheme imposes adult standards, adult subject matter, and methods upon those who are only growing slowly towards maturity.